Hi, I'm Bodie Van Rocken. This is Dad. His name's Dad.
All right, what are we doing?
We're interviewing someone. We normally do.
And do you remember who it is? Evangeline Gentle.
Oh.
Yeah, they just released a new record.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty awesome. We're playing it in the background. And I think Evangeline is ready for us.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready, Betty?
Yeah.
Okay, don't see them there yet. Okay, stay tuned. All right, Evangeline is here.
Hello.
Hey, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear and see me?
Oh, it's great.
Hi.
Hey there.
Hi. Oh my gosh, that's an amazing hat. Wow, that's awesome. I'm loving
Tell us
that.
where you're from and introduce yourself.
Well, my name's Evangeline Gentle. I was born on the northeast coast of Scotland, and I moved to Canada with my family when I was 10. And I currently live in Hamilton, Ontario in Canada.
So, do you like hockey or something?
Pardon? Say that again?
Hockey. It's a sport that my brother plays.
Oh, hockey?
Yes.
Oh yeah. No, I don't really like hockey, to be honest with you. I've been to like 2 hockey games in my life.
So, what were you in when you were growing up?
What kind of things were you into as a kid?
As a kid, what was I into? I played with a lot of I don't know if you know what they are. They're like calico critters. Have you heard of them? They're like little animals. I had a ton of those.
Never heard.
Never heard of them? So they're like these little animal figures, and I used to play with them a bunch. I'm sorry, there's like quite a lag between us on this Zoom call. I don't know how to fix that, but
that's okay. Don't worry about it. So I read that you started performing at like the age of 14. Like, how old were you when you started getting into music?
I was about, I think I was around 12 when I started teaching myself how to play guitar, and I started writing songs around the same time too. But I loved music my whole life. I loved listening to music as a kid. It was always around me in my house because my family are very musical.
Okay, so your parents were like really supportive of, like, were they supportive of your music career or like your choice to go into music?
Yeah, totally, and they still are. So I'm really lucky that my parents are really great in that way and want to support me in what I want to do with my life.
What's your favorite band?
Like, what
My favorite bands? My favorite band are the Chicks. Sorry, our internet's kind of cutting out here with each other. Sorry, say that again.
What was your favorite band?
My favorite band are the Chicks, formerly known as the Dixie Chicks. I used to love listening to them when I was a kid, and they are still my favorite band to this day.
Like, is that okay?
That mask is amazing.
So what are your like 3 favorite go-to records?
Go-to records. Well, I love Joni Mitchell's Blue. I listen to that all the time and have for years. Another record that I'd say is a go-to would be Dixie Chicks, Taking the Long Way. And what else? I love Fleetwood Mac Rumors. I go to that one a lot too.
Oh, that's a great one. Listening to that this weekend, Bodie's mom and I. All right, what was your next question, bud?
So when did you started singing?
I started singing when I was very, very young. I always loved singing when I was a kid. I used to sing constantly. Um, I have four older sisters, and I'm the youngest. So when I was a kid and I was singing around the house all the time, they were teenagers and they used to get really, really mad at me and tell me to stop singing because it was so constant. But I was probably about 6 or 7 when I started to really sing.
That's awesome. So you said you taught yourself guitar. Like at what age did you pick up the guitar?
Well, my parents bought me my first guitar when I was about 8. And I never really learned how to play it. I didn't have the desire at that point. So yeah, it took me a while to get into it, but then when I finally did get into it, I was playing it all the time. And I was probably about 11 or 12 at that point.
Okay.
I love that the mask lights up. That's amazing.
So, which one do you prefer, acoustic or electric?
I prefer electric guitar. And I didn't get into playing electric guitar until I was, I don't know, maybe 18. I had always played acoustic up until that point, but yeah, I got really into electric guitar after I graduated high school.
Are you like, did you ever like listen to the story about Bob Dylan when when he was always an acoustic musician and then all of a sudden he starts playing electric and people didn't know how to handle it? Have you ever heard that story?
No, I haven't heard that story, but that's amazing.
Have you? So tell us a little bit about like what got you into folk music and like tell people out there what folk music is all about.
Well, I really like the storytelling involved in folk music. When I was starting to write songs, I was listening to a lot of Carole King's, her record Tapestry. And what I loved about all the folk music that I was listening to at that time, like I said, was the storytelling, and I really wanted to do that as well. And I think folk musicians are oftentimes amazing storytellers.
What type of stories do you like to tell in your music?
Type of stories do I like to tell? I like to tell love stories. And I like to tell hopeful stories about overcoming hard times in your life. I like to tell stories about showing other people compassion and trying to go through the world as a heart-forward person. Wow, that's really cute. Is that a unicorn?
Bologna corn.
For a second.
So
that's amazing.
We really like your new record, and there's so much storytelling going on. Tell us like your favorite story and your favorite song on that record.
My favorite story on that record would probably be the song Good and Guided. And that song is partially about a time that I spent living at a camp in Ontario. I was working at a summer camp, and when I was living there, I was living in this community of people, and I was thinking about how to live out my values as far as wanting to be a good person and be a compassionate person. And that song really tells the story of that, and this idea that when you're born into the world, children really want to be good people when they grow up.
I love that. So, I mean, let's talk a little bit more about that. Like, what do you think what changes? Like, okay, one of the things that I was really interesting about your record is like you wrote it at kind of a young age. You were like, 17, like 18 or something?
I was like 18, 19 when I started writing it.
Okay, and then, so, I mean, now, you're what, 23, so you've got some...
24 now.
24 now, okay, so you've got some perspective. Like, like when you're a child, what changes? How do you get clued in on some of those less than niceties, And then like, tell me about the perspective you have now, than what you had as when you're writing that record.
I think, I don't know, I think as you get older and you have different experiences that are hard in your life, they can sort of harden you in a way, and you can get a little bit jaded, I think. And I feel like it's important to want to stay connected with other people and continue to be open, even when hard things are happening. But I think that, as you get older, life becomes a little bit more, challenging, and the realities shift, I suppose. Yeah.
Okay. And then, so, what's different being 24? Like, how do you see the world differently? And how is your, what do you want to write about now as opposed to what you wanted to write about then?
Mm-hmm. I think now at 24, I still want to write about those kinds of things, but I guess I have even more experience to draw from that has sort of strengthened these ideas that I have, or these beliefs that I have. And now I'm writing a lot about more specific social things, or events that have happened, historical events that have happened in the last, 3 years. I'm writing a lot about that are often a little bit more politically charged, I would say. Yeah.
Sometimes I don't get to the mute button fast enough. So, you kind of are dealing with some heavy, some kind of heavy topics, is it difficult to be that? So one of the things I noticed is your voice is just so amazing, and it's so vulnerable, and there's so much emotion to it. Tell us about what that is like, being so vulnerable on record and in front of people.
Well, I always open up my live show with an a cappella song, and it's 2 verses. And I choose to do that because I feel like it's a great way for me to get the most vulnerability out at the beginning of my show as possible, because I'm singing with no instrumentation whatsoever. It's just my voice, and it's sort of like hey, this is my vulnerable introduction to you. And I'm hoping that in doing that, I will connect better with my audience through that vulnerability. It's important to me as a musician that I connect with my audience in a meaningful way. And I do believe that through being vulnerable with them and being my authentic self and sharing these parts of myself with my listeners, that I will develop more lasting, meaningful relationship with them. And it's like a transfer of energy in that way,
Yeah, I just absolutely love it. And you have the song, "The Strongest People Have the Tender Heart." That really kind of encapsulates what you're talking about.
Dan, stop!
Okay.
It's time for Bono Random Question!
All right.
Now, what's the time?
All right, tell poor Evangeline
Amazing.
what they're getting into.
Sand, look, it's Bono Random Question! Oh, wait, here's another
Amazing.
one. Larry, get out of here! This is an intervention. You got to stop breaking people's necks. What? Ow! Larry! What?
Tell Evangeline what this is all about, this segment.
Time for Bono Rando Question. Now to think of a random question.
Amazing.
I got it. What was your favorite stuffed animal that you grew up with as a kid?
Okay, that's an amazing question. I still to this day have this stuffed animal at my parents' house. So it's, the show Winnie the Pooh? Well, I had this Piglet, but it was this huge stuffed animal, and I would sleep with it every night. It was like the size of me when I was probably 6 or something like that. And I slept with it every single night, and it's still at my parents' house. And a secret about me is that when I stay at my parents' house, sometimes I still sleep with that stuffed animal when I'm there.
I love it. I love it.
I have a favorite one too. His name is Mr. Bubbles. Look up Bioshock Mr. Bubbles.
I
You'll
will.
see a picture of him.
Amazing.
So tell us a little bit about that song, The Strongest Hearts. Tell us.
Well, I wrote that song when I was feeling very, very angry with the world. But I realized that as a musician, I sort of have a responsibility, or like I feel like I have a responsibility to try to put out some good things into the world. And so I took all of this anger that I was feeling and tried to muster up as much compassion as I could possibly find within me and write a song that was more hopeful and how it takes a lot, and about how it takes a lot of strength to kind of feel all that anger and try to let it motivate you to do something good and make a change in the world.
That's so inspiring. I think that's great. I love it. So like we said, we dig the new record. It just came out this summer, right? And tell us a little bit how well it's doing and what's like the reception.
I'm getting like a lot of really amazing feedback, and I've had some really great opportunities to talk to people, like talking to you both. This is awesome. And it was really cool to know that my songs have been on the radio. I was born in Scotland, and it was a really nice moment of success for me when I found out that my song had been on the radio in Scotland. That was a really sweet moment for me, and I was really excited about that.
So how old were you when you left Scotland?
I was 10.
Oh, okay. So Bodhi's 9. So you have you have some definitive memories of Scotland.
I definitely do.
Tell us how that influenced you.
Well, I would say the way that it's influenced my music is that I grew up listening to a lot of traditional Celtic folk music from Scotland. And I really, really, really love that genre of music. It really moves me. And in my live show, I do a cover of a traditional Scottish folk song called Black is the Color. And I do that a cappella as well. It's one of my favorite Scottish folk songs. So I'm definitely influenced by the music, that's for sure.
So how did you feel when you first heard yourself on the radio?
Well, you know what? I've never been in a situation yet where I've like heard myself on the radio. It's always that someone else tells me after I heard you on the radio. I'm like, darn it, I wish I had heard that. So I don't know yet how it will feel if it just comes on the radio, but I can imagine that I will be pretty thrilled.
Oh, that's so cool. So you worked with, what was the name of the producer that you worked with?
His name's Jim Bryson.
And so did you come to him with like a lot of finished songs? Tell us about that. Like what was his influence on the record?
Well, when I met him, I was 19. I had been opening for another artist that he was playing guitar with. And he approached me after my set and said, you know, I really, really love your music. I'd really like it if you wanted to come to my studio and work on some songs with me and maybe make a record. And I said, yeah, that sounds great. I hadn't really done that before. I mean, I had recorded some music, but not in the way that we were going to do it together with other instruments and things like that. I had only ever just done vocals and guitar. So I went to his studio and I had a few songs and we worked on those. Most of the time I would go to his studio with finished songs and I'd play them for him, and then we'd kind of talk about the songs and talk about which ones felt the strongest or that they'd evoke like the most emotional response from listeners, or which songs were the most important to me. And then we would work on them, work on how we wanted to arrange them, what other instruments we wanted to include, what would be good for the song. Yeah.
So I like the zombie shirt that you posted out, but it doesn't really fit with your music. So what made you make that zombie shirt?
Well, you know what? I'm a huge fan of Halloween. And are you a fan of Halloween?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And I like zombies. And so I thought, you know what? Why not? Why not have a zombie t-shirt?
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it would be a cool idea.
We
And
like
I'm
it.
happy with them.
Yeah, we love it. We're definitely. Does it come in kid sizes?
You know what? It doesn't come in kid sizes yet, but I really should get kid sizes.
Good. Good thing it comes in dad size though. So that's. So it took you a couple, like what, 3 years to put that album together.
Mhm.
That whole time, I mean, tell us like your mindset of that. That's a long time to be working on a project, and that's so rad. That I mean, it's a snapshot of your life, right? So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that whole long process.
Well, I think it took me so long because I was sort of trying to figure out what my path was. And at that point, I think in young people's lives of my generation, you're sort of feeling a lot of pressure about going to school, like going to get, a job that's a little bit more stable and I don't know, that can offer, a certain amount of stability. I was feeling a lot of pressure to go to school and do something else. And so I sort of was like taking breaks from music throughout then, like for a while I'd get really, really back into it. Like, yes, this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. This is the only way for me. And then I would be like, oh wait, no, I have to go to school. I have to do something else. Like, this is going to be really hard. But I'm very, very grateful that I finally found my way and I'm here and I'm doing music and my record's out. So it feels really good, but it was a winding path to get here.
I could see the smile on your face and the pride, and you've connected with a lot of people, and I mean, it's you put a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of energy into it, and then it's fantastic that people are so receptive to it. Okay, so we're coming near towards the end of our interview, and Bodhi always likes to kind of ask the inspiring questions, like, what kind of advice
Would you give to a kid that's born for the guitar, which is me, because I do play a lot of guitar, especially my dad's Rickenbacker.
Oh, nice. Amazing. So sorry, can you say that question again? I didn't quite hear it. What kind of advice would I give to a kid who likes playing guitar?
Who was born for the guitar.
That's a good one.
Born with a guitar?
No, born for it.
Born for it. Oh, so it's like your calling. It's like you love it. I would say that you should really, really continue to feel that sense of connection with the guitar and play it as much as you possibly can. And I think it would be kind of cool if you feel like you were born for the guitar to maybe write some songs with the guitar. My advice would be to maybe try that out.
I love it. That's great advice. All right. I think we will stop there. I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for doing this. This is awesome. I love it.
Can you let people know how they could find you online and find out more about your music?
Yeah, so people can go to my website, evangelineGentlemusic.com, and I'm also on Apple Music and Spotify, Bandcamp, and on all the social media sites too. But my website's probably the best spot to go because it's got the most information.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.